Okay, good Friday morning, everyone. It's the 24th of May, 2019. Time for a short video update. Again, I don't plan on doing these on the blog. I plan on doing this back to the where you've got to be logged in. And I'll get that taken care of at some time in the next little while, maybe a week or so. Maybe back to a login, but it will be free. And yes, I will eventually be running ads on the website. Got to monetize this somehow, right? Anyway, all right, on with the show. What I'm going to do is show you some variations, okay? In terms of, it all comes down to where and when is the first mini greedometer sequence baseline point. That's the all-important missing ingredient. We've got the birth point, we've got probably a first top line point, and what we're looking for is a first baseline point. Probably, let's look at this one first. This one and this one, what I'm showing is if the SPIX were to close the week around 2770, that would generate a mini greedometer value in my estimate around here, which would make probably the first baseline point and a baseline of about that. And of course, this is what the SPIX would look like, more or less. You're cutting with an axe, okay? And these will get slid a little bit, you know, a month that way or that way, and but cutting with an axe from this point of view, it'll look something like that. If the SPIX were to plummet a bit more, close the week around 2740, we'd get you'd get a slightly lower value around here, and this would get pulled back a little bit, and it would be a value pretty close to what I was forecasting earlier in the week. And of course, like I said, this would be pulled in a little bit. Okay, that's if this week were to be the first baseline point. So a range of about 2740, 2770. Really up to the, if it was up here, it'd be low mid 2800s actually. Close the week low mid 2800s, you'd get a mini greedometer value up around there. Actually, I'll show you in the next chart. But that's the takeaway. That's where things look right now. And the other one is, well, what if next week is the first baseline point? What if this week closed pretty much the same as last week, a smidge lower? I think 2850 is what I'm using on this one for this week's close. It was a bit unnatural looking, but anyway, that would generate a mini greedometer value in my estimate around here. And I say my estimate because some of the input parameters are daily, some of them are weekly, daily and weekly, and they are some of them arrive as well, the next day or that night, and some of them arrive Monday and Tuesday next week, right? So I can estimate late in the week, and I'm not going to be off by very much. But anyway, so it's Friday morning. Markets aren't open yet. And were the SPIX to close around 2850, close to where it was last week, it would generate a mini greedometer value around there. What would that mean in terms of, there you go. All right. So it is possible that that this week could be a first baseline point, in which case there's your first baseline point. That's what the baseline looks like, and that's what the top line's going to look like, something about like that. So that's supportable. It's also possible that, it closes this week around 2850, and then barfs one more and closes next week in the mid 2700s and we're back to that sort of the baseline point. Okay, so that's a bit of a range. That's a bit of a realm. Could see the summary is we could see the first baseline point this week or next week, right? The lowest probably being this week around 2740. The highest for this week really 2850. So 2700 plus or minus 50 for this week, and something similar probably for next week. Now, to those of you that are new, you might say, well, this is a useless system. Well, hang on, right? I have always maintained that in order to use this system, you have to have three things: the birth point, the first top line point, and the first baseline point. Until you've got all three, you can't really use this system with low risk. And so we're waiting to observe the first baseline point. And again, we have not been permitted to see that since 2014. I don't know if it was August or it was October. I think it was August 2014. Ever since then, it's been a nonstop show of, central bank sugar bombs, as you can see here, right? So should be an exciting day, should be an interesting day. Don't make any massive bets based on this system, not yet, anyway. Until we get a tight read on where the first baseline point is and what the forecast would look like, okay? Y'all have a good day.